everybody, and welcome to a smooth wild ride with Steve-O. You don't get smoother than G-Eazy. This guy's the best. And man, it was a breath of fresh air after the last episode we had with Adam Friedland. Woof. I mean, nice to have a very sincere and vulnerable conversation. And that is really what this one is, man. G-Eazy just opened up. He got very emotional, very vulnerable. And man, I just fell in love with the guy. I know you will too. This one's touching. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you G-Eazy.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
What's up?
It's good to see you, my man.
It's great to see you. It's been since COVID.
Yeah. So I'm in the supermarket in COVID. I mean, in
all right, how are we going to break down the story? Because I've waited a long time.
I'm wondering how you guys are even wasn't everything closed in the peak?
All right,
and you had masks
all right,
on?
so I think we should take turns telling the story.
Please.
You are allowed.
And you guys can vote on who told the story better.
Okay.
May I go first?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right, it's March 13th through March 20th, somewhere in that week, right? The world's shutting down. We're getting a chance to fuck off without guilt, without shame, without any consequence. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. What? I don't have to feel bad about just sitting on the couch and just like smoke weed all day and just watching whatever the fuck you want and consuming content with no consequence. And me and one of my best friends are watching Jackass all day long. And he has a tattoo of the logo, the whole nine. And we're having like a Jackass marathon on like, it had to be like March 17th, 18th. So we're like a good 4 or 5 days into before we knew that nothing was ever going to be the same again. And it was around the time when, oh shit, should we go get toilet paper and pasta? Like when the racks were getting run out. And we look at each other and we pause Jackass. And we drive down the hill from my house in LA and we go to the Gelson's. And we sprint to the toilet paper aisle. And it was almost like two people sprinting to the same pack of toilet paper, reach for the same pack, and I look up and it's Steve-O. Like, oh,
really?
And yeah. And I was with my buddy who has the tattoo, like, shout out Shayna Belly.
Yeah, I mean, it was epic. And then we got a photo together. I feel like you posted it saying that, like, look who I fought over toilet paper with.
Yeah. And in reality, my story may have been a bit embellished.
I think it was maybe deeper in
more
than
romantic.
March.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the dates because you're pretty good with dates.
Yeah, like I mean I don't know.
But didn't everything shut down March 19th? Was like I remember.
Well, 13th when fucking Tom Hanks got it and basketball stopped, I said, "You have my attention now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Australia.
Okay, this is not just the flu.
Right. And
We probably had just been coming home from Oklahoma. I think was our last show.
I mean, who knows? I just know that it was crazy how toilet paper was the thing.
The thing.
You know, it was the thing, and like
toilet paper and pasta, to be fair.
Right. I mean,
All that was left was the bad like shells or like the weird shapes of pasta.
Yeah.
Spaghetti was long gone.
Yeah, but now there's Tushy, so you don't have to worry about the next pandemic.
just gonna say
That was
That was pre-Tushy era.
I think that the pandemic was like the big boom for Tushy, the bidet company.
So now, do you use a Tushy? Do you know what that is? It's like a bidet.
Hey man, I fought him over toilet paper, man.
Now I'm like I'm just gonna come out and say this. Like I'm comfortable enough with my own sexuality to tell you that you're a serious piece of ass.
Thank you, man. You are as well.
Yeah.
You are as well, Steve.
Better looking in person than you are on the videos.
I think it all checks out. I think it's an even match.
I would say the same.
Thanks. I've been really trying, man, to be healthier.
A better piece of ass.
What, to be a better piece of ass? Yeah.
In so many ways.
You know, my weight will fluctuate. My diet will be all over the place. But I've been really rigid. I've been really strict with exercise and diet, and I think I'm reaping the rewards.
Love that.
Do you have like a fitness, health, wellness like?
Yeah, drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Take a lot of naps.
Smoke a lot of
naps. Weed. Yeah, a lot of weed naps. Man, I wish I liked exercising. You know, like if that was like my thing, some people like that's their thing. They love it. I'm just like, this is hell.
It's terrible.
It's
I know.
terrible.
I hate it.
You gotta love the terrible.
That's why I like sauna so much, because I'm getting my heart rate up without moving. You know, and you're dripping sweat. And you're like, fuck, dude, is this the same thing as like a workout?
Yeah. I mean, believe it or not, I turn 50 next month.
No.
Yeah, and I'm celebrating my 50th birthday by competing in a triathlon.
That's amazing.
So I'm trying to like get, you know, in better shape, so I can do it. I'm training, like I'm out there running, and there's nothing that sucks more than running. It's the worst, and I'm doing it regularly, and it's not getting any easier.
I mean, your time's getting better though.
Yeah.
I mean,
it finally got better when I beat my mile.
Yeah.
Yesterday, like numerous people asked me if I was okay. I swear. Like, dude, dude,
are you okay? Or,
yeah.
I hope you're well.
Do I need to call 911? You don't look okay. Was the vibe?
Yeah, okay.
That's what I took myself to beat my record.
But do you ever wear a Fitbit or anything at a show, like Apple Watch, to track your steps per like show?
No.
Because I know when we did Tommy Lee, he had the ankle thing on. I saw an interview where it said after a concert, he does the equivalent of 13 miles of like steps.
Yeah. It's a lot of running and jumping. It's a lot of adrenaline.
So
adrenaline is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, you get sweaty as hell. Right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweaty as hell on stage is a good thing.
How long are your shows?
The worst thing is like I'll get off stage at like summer festival shows, right? Like, and a lot of these shows are in the middle of July or August, and you're in hot markets, like, and you know I'll get off stage, and while everybody else is at the side stage by like the monitor guys or the sound, you know, watching, and it's a party for them, but it's a job, you know, for us, like, you know. And I'm doing all this, like running around, jumping around, you know, breath control, performing, and I get off stage and I'm drenched, and you know, and I love, like I've toured for so long that I have friends in so many different places in the world, and that's amazing. Like, so they'll come to the show, but for them it's their big night. For me, it's like, I just did the shit last night in Chicago, like, you know. Yeah. But they get off stage like, yo, you killed it, dap me up and give me a hug, like, yo, you're sweaty as shit, dog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no shit. Like, what?
Yeah. What's the craziest thing a girl's ever thrown up on stage while you're rapping? Any fans ever throw anything, or like
bras, panties?
Yeah, we used to have a broom that we would like tour with, like, and have a part of the show where we come out and like sweep up and play Chim Chimney, and like sweep up all the bras and panties on stage.
Really?
There was my tour like 20 years ago. I would have like an industrial staple gun, and I'd be like, all right, like all the girls, throw your bras and panties on the stage, and like these bras and panties would fly on the stage, and I would staple them all over my body, like I was the human bra and panty Christmas tree. I mean, to be fair, it was pretty much all bras. Not a lot of girls were taking off their panties.
Relating a Christmas tree, which is in it of itself an odd idea. If you ever like zoom out and think about, like, if aliens came down and just saw, wait, you people cut down trees, with, like ring lights and hang like shiny things on them.
That's funny.
To celebrate it, but to equate a Christmas tree to a Steve-O with bras and staples.
Yeah.
It's an interesting metaphor. And
you know what? I think that's a very, very helpful and interesting point that you make, that like what an odd way to celebrate Christmas by cutting down Christmas trees. Is it, can Isaac, can you bring up like how bad are Christmas trees for the environment?
Well, dude, there's a company that's making a ton of money now that they rent Christmas trees out to you, and they come back and pick them up and plant them back in the ground.
Have you ever cut down a Christmas tree?
No.
For Christmas?
No.
Actually cut them down? No.
I just made me feel like the only
like it's like a New York thing.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
I feel like that's more of an East Coast thing.
We're seeing
here. I was asking for a friend. Not that I've ever.
Yeah, where did you cut them down? In New York?
Oakland. My grandparents had a cabin like around Tahoe, and it's like log cabin. like tiny little like built in the '60s.
Yeah.
Never been a TV. There's no Wi-Fi. It's our family's like precious jewel. And we did a Christmas there. Me, my little brother, and my mom. And we didn't have a Christmas tree, so me and my little brother went to try to find a tree to chop it down.
I mean, that's what they usually do, though, right?
And I don't even know if it was the right kind of tree, but I mean, the smell was up like this time, so we chopped like the top half of it. Yeah. We had our little Charlie Brown Christmas.
That's cool.
But I came back in the summertime and saw just where we chopped it off at. It looked crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should do that once in their life, like Kevin McAllister on Home Alone.
Well, it's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last, that I absolutely disagree with Scott Randolph. What I think everyone should do is work on improving themselves as a person. And the way to do that is to drop a bad habit and replace it with a good habit. And that is what Fume is all about. Fume is a diffusive device which flavors air. I happen to have it in my pocket at all times, and if you see me anywhere, you ask me, do I have my Fume in my pocket? I will pull it out. If I don't, I will go ahead and make a shout-out video for you and your dumb little buddies, and you know what? Every time someone's asked me that, I have had it in my pocket, and I've insisted on making shout-out videos for everybody and their dumb little buddies. Because I like to bring people up. I like to improve their day, and I like it when people improve themselves as a person. So let me tell you about this diffusive device. It's got no batteries. It's got no nicotine. It's just flavored air. It literally just flavors air, and I love it. I really love it, and I'm not even trying to quit anything. I love it. If you are trying to quit something, this is the way to do it. And for a very limited time, go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO to get a free gift when you order your journey pack. Your journey to a healthier, happier you starts now at tryfume.com with the promo code STEVO. It's time to start that journey. You get a free gift. You go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO. Be a better you. Now let's get back to it.
Didn't he cut down the Christmas tree?
I did hear, though, and I'm not sure what I'm seeing on the screen.
3.5 kilos of carbon
dioxide.
Right,
but I heard that somehow, like, cutting down, like, clear-cutting forests for, I don't know, like it's like a haircut for the forest. Like, in some case, like, it could be actually good for forestation to cut down Christmas trees. It's not necessarily bad. I mean, but then clear cutting is an effective tool. Clear cutting is an effective tool to regenerate shade-intolerant tree species. It's not always bad, but I think that one could make an argument that most all holidays that we celebrate, like big holidays, are like pretty bad. If you look at Thanksgiving,
like Halloween is bad for the pumpkins.
Maybe turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Easter for the chocolate.
And even like kind of what it's about, like if you think about the just like straight homicidal colonialism, you know, like the coming and then we teach the children like that it was like this wonderful Thanksgiving where we sat down and ate with the Native Americans.
Yeah, like Columbus Day.
Yeah, like there's a lot of bad stuff.
The biochemical warfare where we put measles on blankets and gave it to the Indians, but like, yeah, they're all buddies and let's have some turkey dinner together.
In any case.
Does New Year's have any bad history? I'm trying to think of the most innocent holiday.
Right. New Year.
It's just a new year.
Yeah, I think it's just
Let me find out there's a whole lot of bad history behind New Year's. Time is a construct.
Right. Do you ever go back to Oakland?
Yeah, of course.
Is it crazy what's been going on there? Is that accurate? What you see on the news with all like the shops closing down and the looting?
Yeah, it's just a whole different. I mean,
they're just throwing in the towel on every retail store because of all the theft.
Is it different than when you grew up there?
It's very different than when I grew up. Yeah, very, very. When I go home, but it's strange because you get to a certain point in life and. I moved to New Orleans when I was 18 for college, and then I lived in L.A., and now I live in New York. and it's been a long time since I've, lived where I'm from, and it's changed a whole lot, as have I, and you change, like
Sure.
the separation of and I don't have much family left, so it's weird. It's like the same connection to this place, and when this place is so different, but at the end of the day, I mean, the Bay will always be.
I think that the first exposure I had to you, it was like a
It wasn't the toilet paper aisle.
No, I think it was before that. There was a documentary about the Bay Area and gentrification in general, and I think that you and some other Bay Area rappers were like really like speaking out about how gentrification has and gentrification, for people who don't know, it's just where like the cost of living goes up and up and up, and like the rich people effectively price out.
And create such a socioeconomic disparity. And I mean, the Bay Area has such a rich history of culture. It's a kaleidoscope of culture, and I grew up exposed to so many different worlds and walks of life. And particularly for me, I mean, my family, everyone's from the Bay Area, and my mom, being an activist and protesting, through the 60s, and, Summer of Love to, and then you think about the Bay Area's history, like Black Panther movement, to then my generation being hyphy. I was a junior in high school when 2006, which was the most glorious time ever, like in my, coming of age in the Bay Area. And E40 dropped a classic album, I Get a Report Card, and Tell Me When to Go, and I mean, it was a cultural movement that was very, very, very transcendent and impactful, and that's the era I grew up in. But it was very strange, and the Bay Area has this rich history of being counterculture, going against the grain, and not always understood, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, vibrant.
You said hyphy?
Yeah, that was like a saying, like in 06, like skitsyphy.
Tell me when to go.
Tell me when to go.
Sprinkle me, vein.
No, but that's always been popular, but it was really underground though. It really, like 2006.
Yeah, but we had a moment where it almost like broke through and transcended. But essentially, what I'm trying to say is that the Bay Area is unique and special and rich in cultural history, and it's been very like different.
Yeah,
and we embrace our different.
Sure.
We have pride in our like uniqueness and
right. I mean, I think that what it is that's made it so crazy there is Silicon Valley, the whole tech industry, and the tech industry just brought like such incredible wealth to the Bay Area that it drove up the cost of everything. Yeah. So regular hardworking Americans can't afford the cost of living. They can't live there, and so they get driven out of neighborhoods, and it just makes it really, really difficult to live.
Type in the average cost of rent in the Bay Area or San Francisco.
And to see that you were like really speaking out about the wealth disparity, about how difficult it is for people. To me, it's really like it's
3,200.
It's fascinating because hip hop is all about like I got the money, like I got so much money, I'm the man, but then to be compassionate about and concerned about the disparity of wealth in hip hop, it's almost like paradoxical almost, and I feel like that's something that I view you as is paradoxical in that way. Yeah. So
I mean, no, it's very accurate to say it that way. It's interesting because hip hop naturally is so autobiographical. It's so personal. It's storytelling. It's a reflection of your experience, your life story, your perspective, and all this. But it's also aspirational. And it's also like, a culture of feeling, and to paint this picture of, so it's that duality, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wondered with, just the disparity of wealth, not just in the Bay Area, but in the world. You know, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and it's a dynamic that just gets more and more crazy. And with that and the dwindling opportunity, it feels to so many people like the American dream just isn't even a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like the opportunity just isn't there. It's just life is such a struggle. And I've always wondered, at what point does it like not work to be a hip hop artist talking about like I got the money?
I mean that's like, I mean, a huge angle on my new album is just being much more like honest and reflective and real as opposed to, you know, like painting this picture or being even like critical or like a whole lot of the album and one of my favorite songs on it, we flipped ODB and Khalees, and I took the hook of like, hey baby I got your money, and I flipped it to like, and we turned it into this song of like, hey baby I don't have much money, but don't you worry, cause hey, one day we'll be rich as fuck. Hey, baby, and I got Leon Bridges to sing the hook, and he killed it. And it's like a great American story of like, you know, and I framed it through the lens of like when, you know, I was, you know, like 19, 20, like having to decide like, am I gonna stick to this and try to make this work or not, because I'm like behind on rent, I have nothing, it's not working, like you know, everything is telling me dog, like this is not like going anywhere, and that obsessive drive and love and commitment to, you know, pursue it against all signs telling you this is not.
But what made you say, okay, I'm doing it?
You gotta fall in love with something.
Oh, dude, I can't get behind that anymore.
Well, because I feel like the regret of not doing it is worse than like actually not doing it.
Well, yeah, know? but take me back. You said you said you're 19 and you don't have anything, and you know, but where does the college fit into that?
Yeah, it was all right. So I guess not 19, 21, 2. Like I had just like.
So you graduated from college in New Orleans.
Yeah, only school I got into on a bunch of scholarships and grants. And I saw it through because I promised my mom and grandma that I would.
And what did you study at the university?
I studied at Loyola. It was one of the only programs at the time, music industry studies. So I was just like, yeah, I mean.
Was that like engineering or what?
It was a bit of that, and then like, but more so than the academia aspect of
business.
It was, but it was the people I met there. The other kids like-minded like me, who were like delusionally like driven and imaginative to think that we could do this. And I met, you know, my managers who I worked with for 15 years, you know, my career straight from there, that we did everything with, that we, you know, drove to our first shows for 4 people, you know, 10 hours on a weekend and drove back to class.
For 4 people?
Literally. And one of them was my manager. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But to have that delusion, like, and to that obsessive drive is a bit, like, a little nutty. Like,
sure.
Yeah, we talk about all that time about, like, sometimes you need that delusion.
Yeah,
you have to.
I'm not mad at Vinny's delusion. You gotta have it, you know?
Yeah.
But at a point when, like, if you come back to the market and 4 people, it just became 6. It's like, you know, how long are you going to just, you know, think this is going to work? You have to be realistic. And, you know, that was, I mean, life just comes at you. Yeah. You know, eventually it's like, yo, how are you paying your rent? How are you, like, and I would sell beats for like $100 and I would record rappers.
When you say
out of my apartment.
Sell beats for $100, you mean like so that they can actually, like, they own the beats?
Like,
all right, we're talking money, and it is that time of month. We've got a UFC pay-per-view event this weekend, UFC 302. Islam Makhachev against Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I'm going to give you my picks right now, and I'm telling you that they're going crazy. New to DraftKings Sportsbook, new users. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You make a minimum deposit of $5, and then your first bet is a no-sweat bet. This is a risk-free bet up to $1,500, where If it doesn't hit, they redeem what you lost. So you didn't lose it at all. It's insane that they're offering that up to $1,500. And that's how it goes, man. And what do we got on the main card? We're starting off with Rude Boy Randy Brown against Dos Santos. Well, Randy Brown is my boy. He's the rude boy. I'm the wild boy. I'm going with rude boy Randy Brown to win that. Next up, we've got Jailton Almeida against Alexander Romanov. And even though Almeida is a favorite, I'm going with Romanov because my lady said so. Next up, our boy Big Mouth Kevin Holland against Michael Olejskruk. And I don't know how to pronounce that name, but I do know that I love Kevin Holland, and let's go Big Mouth. And then the co-main event, Sean Strickland against Paulo Costa. And Sean Strickland is a favorite. It's tough to root for Sean Strickland, but let's go Sean Strickland. And next, the main event. Now, this is a really tough one. Islam Makhachev, huge favorite. Dustin the Diamond, big underdog. But I don't go against my boy, Dustin Poirier. I did last time, and he won in the most spectacular fashion. Everybody wants Dustin Poirier to win. He's the best guy. Let's go, Dustin Poirier. And one more time for the new users, you go to DraftKings Sportsbook, you download the app, you make a minimum deposit of $5, and then your first bet is what's called a no-sweat bet. If it doesn't hit, they redeem you. They give you back what you lost. You don't lose anything. Man, DraftKings Sportsbook, they're going crazy.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/MMA for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Now let's get back to it.
Like even before I wrote my first rap, I was making beats.
And you give it to him on a CD?
Well, yeah, I mean, so I had become enough known in New Orleans in enough circles is yo, there's this kid uptown by Loyola who makes beats and can record, and I would charge $25 an hour to engineer for other rappers, and I would sell beats on the side for $100, and I would sell a verse for $50, and I was doing that enough to pay rent and still be making my music and put it out. But eventually it's yo, where's this going? Because something has to happen, and we were just all in. And our manager at the time maxed out our credit cards and shot this one music video. And I remember I was it was a 60s music video for the song called Run Around Sue. And we went thrift shop to thrift shop and got styled it all ourselves, bought all the pieces.
That's the black and white one.
And it wasn't that one, but
Can we pull it up on here?
Run Around Sue.
Run Around Sue.
Please don't make us watch it though.
I know the Run Around Sue.
Oh, the one below,
the Dion song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that guy.
And this was a last hope. This was we'd each spent $1,500, maxed out our credit cards, styling this video, asking for every favor we could. All the extras are just friends. That was my girlfriend.
Was
literally.
Was that by the beach by New Orleans?
Probably Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Damn, look at the kid. That's the library on Central.
How many views is that one?
Well, all right. So the story is the night we put it out, and this was our art all in. And I remember waking up the next morning because we had a party that night to for the release of it. And I woke up the next morning and I woke up my girlfriend because the first thing I did is look at my phone and check the views, and it had 13,000. I said, baby, yo, what's happening? We're going viral. It happened. 13,000 views, and that was enough. Once I got that first step, it was okay, yeah, now you can't stop me. And I got my agent from there. I got on Vans Warped Tour from there, and it was still a very slow long, but I was I just needed one.
Yeah.
You give me one piece, and then we'll go.
And you distributed that on YouTube?
Yeah.
You just went on, uploaded on YouTube at a
Didn't
party,
play the
watched it.
sample. They took down the video after it hit 1 million views. But I remember the day that it hit a million views. It was like, oh shit, I have a song that, you know, my first like 1 million views on YouTube.
Is that something you've gotten in trouble with, not clearing samples for songs? Like,
yeah, naturally.
it's it's crazy the stories that you hear about. Like with like
Post Malone.
Kanye puts Ozzy Osbourne on his thing with no permission. Like, you know, with all the politicians that are like getting clapped by the artists because they're doing campaigns, and the artists are like, "Yo, I hate you. I don't want you playing my music at your campaigns." It's such a bad look.
Yeah.
Eminem did that with Trump, or somebody came out to Lose Yourself or something. He's like, bro,
Yeah.
I won't be doing that.
Right. I just think that, I mean, that's crazy. But at the level that you were at the time, like how can you even imagine it's going to be a problem?
Yeah, not at all. We just risk it for the biscuit.
Nowadays, you
Let
got
it fly.
nowadays.
Nowadays, I mean, it's a completely different. But at that time, it's like you got to take risks.
For
and
sure.
just-
What does it look like you know, nowadays if you want to sample? Like, what's the last thing that you sampled and you had to get it cleared?
Sampled, well, the ODB song.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that was fairly straightforward. But it all depends. It comes down to some artists are very, you know, like firm and rigid and you know, because it's their art, you know.
Well,
And,
right.
But so much of the history of hip hop is about, you know, kind of like repurposing, taking
Sure.
these pieces, you know what I mean, and then like putting it in a different context and culture, and that's, you know.
I think a lot of the time too, the artist could be all about it, but the artist doesn't have control because the label, the label owns it.
Yeah.
You remember Ye sampled Jay and Silent Bob movie? Like, I mean, they were like stoked because it brought up all their numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's all subjective, you know. Like,
Right.
if somebody's cool and they are into it, yeah. But like, if somebody's just really anal, and they're like, you know, so against it. But it's also, I mean, you mentioned politics. It's like, if I so don't fuck with what you stand for as an artist or a politician, I don't want to be aligned with that.
Yeah,
Right.
but what's
You know?
the rule as far as samples go? Like not monetizing it. Like if you're making a mixtape, can you use someone's sample?
Not anymore.
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think
If it's on the internet, it's on the internet. It's
Yeah.
You're confusing including something in a YouTube video where they can just like take your AdSense revenue. That's a different deal than
Okay.
including something in a song which is being sold. I think that it's once it's being sold that that commercialization is where the line lives.
So is that really true? Like, if you sing "Happy Birthday," like you owe that?
Well, that's why some restaurants sing like the knockoff "Happy Birthday."
Yeah.
You know, you go and you hear like the generic version or the like.
But is that really true? Like, you can't sing "Happy Birthday" in a movie or without paying somebody?
That's so
Some things are
crazy.
worth the cost, you know.
Yeah.
Like
That's
if it's that precious, you just.
I think that I have heard that.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I wanted to ask you too, because I remember that that first video I saw you in, and it was just like, you know, you really felt it felt like you were really passionate about like you just this tragedy of the wealth disparity in the Bay Area. And I got to believe that that's why you started your nonprofit. Like, because that's sort of like what it's about, right? For the Bay.
Yeah.
It's called the Endless Summer Fund. Yeah, like, tell us what that, like,
I mean, for at-risk youth in the Bay Area. And look, I consider myself very fortunate, very, you know, lucky to be here in a way. That I've lived here, I've lived back here, you know, and it's not always fair, you know, who, you know,
right.
you know, so it's like, and I've never had, I get confused by the billionaires like pissing contests and dick measuring contests of
Yeah.
like, you know, like yacht size or something like that. I'm like, past a certain point, dude, like between 4 walls and a roof and you know, like a couple meals a day and a certain level of comfort and, you know, and yes, you work hard, you know, you the benefits of that hard work and drive and everything, but past a certain point, dude, what are you doing? Because there's a whole lot of the world that's like
Right.
not as fortunate or lucky. So it's like it's just about, you know, being in touch, considerate, and connected, and compassionate, and yeah, just giving.
Right.
You know,
And how long you been doing that Endless Summer Fund?
I mean, most of, you know, better part of the last decade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you scroll down a bit, Isaac?
Hey, you see, you just said that you know you've lived here, you're up here, and then back
Yeah.
down to here. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, was there a point?
Well, like in the sense of, and again, I want to be sensitive of. I'm very full
Right,
of gratitude,
right,
and
right,
you
yeah.
know what I mean. And
Right.
and the fact that I get to do something that I fell in love with at 13 years old, for a profession, for a living, is I'm the luckiest people in the world find something they love
Yeah.
to do, right? The luckiest get to do it for a living. That's like and the fact I get to do this, you know, at whatever level, the fact I get to wake up and the thing that makes me happy, that fulfills me and brings me joy, I get to do for a living,
Yeah.
you know, is a beautiful thing. So, but it's like, all right, I've been, you know, like #1 song at or like, you know, album sells this, you know, and then I put out some shit that's like I take a kind of a left turn and experiment with, you know, a different, and it does not hit, you know, and how fickle and how fast people can just be like, oh, he fell off, or he, you know, and just kind of like, you know, and it's a game of, you
Right.
know, you ride these waves and what altitude you're at, and the inertia required to stay at this like altitude in pop culture and pop success and any of it, you know? I mean, how
Right.
long of a run can you, because it's crazy
I just think it's
when you're on that
fantastic.
wave of like,
Yeah.
and you're flying and you're going and you're rolling, and like, you know, God forbid you like something in your personal life or something, and you take a step back and now you're here, and it's like, and the way people talk about you is insane. But at the end of the day, I just come back to the gratitude of, dude, I've gotten to do this for a very long time, and I still get to, and just leave with that.
I think it says a lot for you to say I've been here, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you know, just so many people just wouldn't even acknowledge if there was even the slightest dip in their popularity, they would just not acknowledge it. But like for you to just be like, yeah, hey, you know, I was here and then I was here, and
Yeah.
like,
Well, when it goes from here to here, you ever thought about like, oh well, fuck, my career is over. Like, what would you be doing if you weren't
Well, I mean, the thing
a
is,
plumber or like a model? Or like, you ever thought about that? Like, fuck, I might not have a music.
oh, Scott Randolph, sometimes his questions just aren't quite it. But since we're talking about models and plumbing, I am happy to report that I think I look sexier than ever. And when I take a bluechew tablet, I become a major plumber. I'm hitting the pipe, and that's what it's all about. What's a bluechew tablet? Well, glad you asked. It's a delicious, chewable tablet that has the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, except it only costs a fraction of the price. And if you've been wondering about Blue Chew tablets, well, maybe it's time for you to get yourself an entire month's supply absolutely for free. All you pay is $5 for shipping. I mean, come on. That's a hell of a deal. To get it, you go to bluechew.com. You use the promo code STEVO. When you're on the website, you take care of your prescription insanely quickly. Just consulting with the medical provider on the site takes 2 minutes. And like I said, an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets is on its way to you, and all you pay is $5 for shipping. If you're wondering if Blue Chew tablets are a good time, let me tell you, my lady and I, we have a great time. every time. And I love it. I think there's a strong chance you're going to love it too. So one more time, let's go to bluechew.com and use the promo code STEVO. An entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets. All you pay is $5 for shipping. Now let's get back to it.
Like, I mean, same with you, Steve. Like, what would you do if, like, am I gonna drive Uber? Like, or is there just no way that's not gonna happen for you?
I mean, I don't know. It's I think that for me, I really believe that that there's some merit to the philosophy that anxiety is a real quality, like
Dude,
a real asset.
So on the way here, I was approving a final mix of the song on my whole album. It's called Anxiety. Like, I was approving the final mix of it, and I played it 3 times, and, you know, one of my best friends is sitting next to me, and she started to cry as she heard it, because she was like, Gerald, this is the realest thing I've ever heard, you know, and it's so relatable, and I know you so well that I know this is so real, but I took it, and I love Happy Sad just as a general vibe, but, like, I spent a year writing this song, going through multiple drafts, and, like, you know, people I work with, they're like, dog, like, you keep coming back to this song. I'm telling you, it's like, and I'm like, I'm telling y'all, I swear there's a song here. If I can find a way to take a concept like that, but make it something you could cry to, but also dance to, and make it, like, victorious in a way of, like, yeah, like, use that anxiety to drive you.
Yeah.
You know, and to, like, we all have it. We all, like, have some level of some, like, you know, disadvantage or crazy or like, feelings of inadequacy or fucking something that holds you back, and it's like, if you can champion that in a way instead of, you know, and turn it into something that motivates you and lifts you up instead of, you know.
For sure. And to answer your question, yeah, like I'm always thinking, dude, I'm done. I'm over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. And like I've got such intense anxiety, like such intense like fear that everything's not going to be okay, that like I'm always.
Do you have stress dreams?
I'm not even sure what stress dreams are, but
Just
I'm sure, yeah.
nightmares.
Oh yeah, well yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's always for me. It's like in the last like couple hours of sleep in the morning, and I'm like reoccurring dreams of like I get to stage and I'm late and no one's.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I don't have like clothes to wear on stage and shit. I'm not like, and it's all gone. Or I have this crazy dream that keeps happening about fucking school. Like, dude, it's the end of the semester, and like it starts at the beginning of the semester. I'm like, look, to make music happen, I gotta just let one of these go. And I stopped going to one of the classes. and at the end of the dream, it's like I have to take a final exam, and this lady professor is like, I have to just like, I need this to graduate, or I need this to like keep my scholarship or something. And I just wake up panicking.
Yeah.
Every time.
Steve's nightmares are a little different. His are some magazine writing a bullshit article.
Well, not saying mean things about me.
Oh yeah, saying mean things about him in a magazine article.
There's your feelings. Like,
I've had dreams where I'm on stage, and I can't. Nothing will come to me about what my shows are. I'm like over there. I'm on stage in front of a crowd that's like waiting for me.
Have
to
you ever had a
perform
moment like that in real
I
life?
can't do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Have you ever had a moment like that in real life? Like during a show, like just
where you space out,
pure, like draw blank. Like
I've had like
what's next?
I've had moments of terror, like and panic, like oh my god, you know. But I don't know that they would read.
You ever like blanked out during a show? Like, what's
Or
the next
forget a
word?
lyric or something.
Yeah, there's like multiple times where I have. One of the worst was the VMAs with Britney Spears, and
Oh wow.
we had rehearsed it for like weeks, you know, like, and I had just done a song with Britney Spears. I'm at a performance at the VMAs. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, and I have this weird thing. I don't anymore, but I used to be very superstitious about socks. Like I would wear only polo socks, and they have the horse on like the left and the right sock, you know. And you know, I mean, on tour it's tough to do laundry and stuff. I was down to my last pair of socks, and you know they bring me out of my seat, you know, in the crowd to say, hey, you know, showtime's like, you know, you performing in 20, like, you know, let's go back and change. And I go to put on a pair of socks, and they're 2 left socks, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm panicking. Dude, I can't do this. This is bad luck. I can't. But I got to get on stage with Britney Spears. Wow. And, dude, I walk out, and we were doing a medley of the song I did with her, and then my song at the time that was big was Me, Myself, and I. And I think I walked out to the verse of Me, Myself, and I. And the first people I see in the crowd is like Kanye and Kim. And I just panicked. And I was like, yo, fuck. And I'm like, yo, these goddamn 2 left socks, I got 2 left feet. Man. And I like drew a blank. And in that fraction of a second, I was like, Gerald, do not fucking lose right now. Do not blow it. Because you don't get a second take. Like, this is live. Like, this is the world stage. And this is like 2016. When, you know what I mean? So the VMAs are still, and this is the last time, like, Britney Spears, like, that's the house she built. And so, you know what I mean? In a way of, like, you know, and I'm performing with her, and I'm like, Gerald, do not fucking blow this. And I don't know how in my brain, but I picked her back up and caught back up and made it through the song. Like, but yeah, I was,
so,
oh my God.
So nobody knew that you had that moment.
If you watched it, you could tell. But, yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Man.
No, I think it's deleted off the internet.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So, okay. Maybe in any case, anxiety, I think, really is a valuable thing.
But a driving factor. Weaponize your anxiety into, like, motivation.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, let's say World War III broke out. They cut the fucking internet off. There's no more entertainment. What would you do to make money? Would you be like a plumber? Would you be like a fucking construction worker? Like, how,
I mean, before I had a career in television and film, I was a professional circus clown. So
you go back to doing that?
I mean,
I have
like,
a ranch now. You could like.
Before I was a circus clown, I was I did tricks in bars. You know, like I would.
You'd always be an entertainer.
I think I would be an entertainer.
Yeah, if there's a will, there's a way. If there's a way, I will.
Right, for sure.
What were you doing before your career?
I was engineering for other rappers, but before that, I worked at a hot dog restaurant. You know, like all through high school.
Yeah.
Like I'd catch the bus from school to there, and then close up and mop up and walk home. And
hot dog on a stick.
Nah, it was called Top Dog. It's like a Bay Area thing.
Okay.
So you said before, like, heaven forbid anything happens in your personal life, and then, it seems like, and by the way, I got arrested in Sweden as well.
Oh yeah, fuck Sweden. Never going back. When my lawyer, who that was such a terrifying thing. Like, just real quick to
really are mad
look, I have a sold out Europe tour, right? And it was the first show of the tour, and we go out that night, and a fight breaks out in the club. And, somebody hit my girlfriend at the time, and I, reacted, and, the whole thing. And then I didn't realize, the guy I was in a physical, altercation with was security. I just thought it was the big homie of the guy that was, just started the fight. And, whatever. But, dude, think about, I get arrested, and those, 4 or 5 days of waiting for a, court date. You have to cancel every show that was just sold out, and you're losing by the day. Fans who had been looking forward to that, had bought their tickets, had planned for this, on top of the salaries you're paying your whole staff, on top of, if this goes bad, dude, the buses, the production, everything, and by the day and I had no contact with anybody besides the Swedish lawyer my label had got me, who barely spoke much English. And I talked to him, and I was like, he's like, 50-50 chance. 4 years in prison. I was like, okay, what?
Wow.
Yeah,
What was the charge? Assault?
Yeah. And
cocaine, right? Because they're so mad.
Yeah, a little disco dust.
They're like in Sweden.
But it wasn't it was violence they take very seriously there, and it was just, and I was, so when we had our date, they read the verdict, and the security guard came with a neck brace, the whole nine. So dramatic. I was like, buddy, you're way bigger than me. Relax. But read the verdict, and my lawyer whispered to me in English what it meant. He was like, that means you're free. Leave and never come back.
Yeah.
It's like, bet, yeah, I'm out.
It's crazy because I don't even remember that story being about violence. I just remember it being about the disco dust.
Yeah.
And And I just know because I was arrested for international drug smuggling because I filmed myself swallowing a condom full of weed in Norway, and then I flew to Sweden to go poop it out, and then I'm gonna I was making it for a video.
Yeah.
And I got arrested for that.
What was the length of charge they wanted to get you with?
I can't even remember. I just know that they're so intolerant. Like they're
very, very, very intolerant.
Their stance
but it also,
on,
it's like, those years are like between your you come of age and then you kind of like find what you want to do in life, and then your early 20s if you're lucky enough to even get a crack at this. And then you get in the game, and you're lucky to get a year. But then if you really break it open, and then you get those years of but those are valuable years. You think about Pac and Biggie, just as an example. If
they were 23, 24.
They never got to see getting old and falling off.
Right.
Pac died at 24?
26.
26, what did Biggie die?
I think
Biggie was younger, yeah.
I mean, at the end of their movies, when you see all their accolades, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, they had that many hits?
Yeah.
At 26? 20, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which movie did you like better, the Pac movie or the Biggie movie?
Yeah. I like Ray. It's tough. Like biopics are tough, man.
Really tough.
Wait, is it biopic or biopic?
I don't know.
It's a lifelong question.
I think I said biopic and you laughed at me. And you're like, it's biopic.
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine.
I don't think any of us really know.
I would imagine it's biopic.
Biopic.
Yeah,
Because
but biopic sounds a little more sophisticated.
I think
here's the question right here.
Okay.
Hey, man, do you pronounce it data or data? Have you ever just read that?
Biopic. It's a biography and it's a motion picture.
It's a biopic.
So there would be biopic.
Yeah,
So
okay.
a bio picture.
Yeah.
Biography motion picture.
Okay. So have you done acting? I mean, you got it.
Yeah, a little bit. I've dabbled. Yeah. I would like to.
What have you been in? Have you been in anything?
I did a little indie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was in Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got to play a little small role as the toxic ex-boyfriend who's.
Dude. J-Lo.
Yeah. How was doing a show in India?
Man,
What the fuck?
Yeah, one of the most amazing experiences. My first time in India.
Yeah.
Going there, at all. And
rolled
it just
the
being
red
that
carpet.
remarkable of wow, there's 8,000 people a night at these shows singing word for word, and I'm like, I had no idea you guys,
Yeah.
and meeting a lot of the fans and being like
How many people is that?
and they're like, Gerald, you have no idea, we have a whole subculture of all of us that grew up on your music and how much you mean to us, and thank you for coming here, and it's just it's a wide world.
Were there any rules that they gave you performing in India? Because we had Russ on, and where did he perform?
In Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and they had crazy rules.
I got offered a show in Saudi Arabia, and this is pre-COVID, before a lot of rappers were going there. But they offered me a very, very, very more money than I'd ever been offered for a show. And ethically, I was conflicted. I was raised by a single mom, a gay mom, and I was very much raised by women, two women, and before that I was in my grandparents' home, and my grandma was my second mom, and I come from a lineage of activism, and so I get offered this ridiculous amount of money to play a show in Saudi Arabia, and this is 2018, 19, and I just didn't feel right about it, and I talked to my mom at length about it before she had passed, and I ultimately turned it down, and then they came back and doubled it, and I still turned it down. And to this day, do I ever scratch my head and be like, I could really use that right now or something
Yeah.
But I just stand on that as all money isn't good money. And
Yeah, wow.
and now I see rappers go there all the time, and I'm just all right, but at the same time, I don't know.
It seems like
I don't know if saying that is gonna, but yeah.
I don't have any issue with that, and I think that there are plenty more reasons. When you say Saudi Arabia, I'm thinking, is it because they killed the Washington Post reporter guy? And then
No, I don't think they don't.
Wasn't there a lot
support gay
of
rights?
Yeah, and that too. there was the real issues with like the WWE going over there. Like,
Wow, would they really?
I think so.
What was the issues with that?
Saudi women experience. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, I respect that.
I mean, what'd your mom say? Was your mom like, "Oh, don't worry about it, take it," or was she like, "Nah, don't"?
I mean, it was a very large amount of money. And she was like, "Whoa." But no, I mean, at the end of the day, she was proud of me for standing on that.
Yeah, you stand your ground with a lot of things because you also stood your ground with H&M back in the day when they offered you a shit ton of money and you just said no.
Yeah.
That felt like pretty black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a bad way to put it. But like kind of a no-brainer.
For sure. Yeah,
kind of a no-brainer to do that. Wait, what's going on with your whiskey that comes in a bottle that's like a can of paint thinner?
No, I'm no longer a part of that.
Oh, okay.
It's a tough industry, man.
The whiskey industry?
Yeah, just alcohol industry in general, and just celebrity endorsed.
Man, it seems like there's it seems like in Las Vegas, they no matter how many casinos they build, every casino like makes money.
Yeah.
Like, there just seems to be
they have the
like,
best business model ever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it seems
as a loser.
you would think
I've never been into gambling. That's never been a vice of mine. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't you understand how rich casinos are? They just win. Dude,
Right.
I'm not good at this. I have other ways of just blowing money and just losing
Right.
it on dumb shit. Like, I don't want to just give it to
But-
fucking like.
You would think a new huge casino comes in the mix and it would bump out like the lowest one, but no, they all there's no like saturation point, and it seems the same way for celebrity alcohol. Like it just seems like there's no saturation point. Everybody's coming out with
Tequila or whiskey.
I think that you got to be the first person I've heard who says that it's difficult in celebrity alcohol endorsements.
Yeah, and it's also, I like recognizing, it's a very crowded space, and from the gold rush on, it's like, come on, like, if you're not early to crack at it, like everyone's not going to be George Clooney,
Right?
and hit that lick. So it's like, all right, it's a crowded space, but also, I think in general in life, you get what you give, and like same thing with the acting thing, or same thing with entrepreneurial pursuits or anything. It's like you got to be like all in with sweat equity and like real dedication and like time commitment to it, because otherwise don't expect results that you're not giving.
You're doing it half.
You know what I mean? Half-assed. So it's like, but I also have to be like mindful of my bandwidth and capacity of like, if I'm all in on music and I'm in the studio every single night, or if I'm if I'm on the road for 6 weeks straight doing a North America tour, how do you expect me to fit in? All I have to offer is a sliver of time, bandwidth, energy, and space. So it's like, don't expect to like win big off like a minimal effort and
It did look cool that it was in like a paint thinner can.
Oh man.
And it's sorry, but what other stuff do you have going in the business world?
Oh man, I've gotten back into photography after my mom passed. I'd gotten her dream camera, which is a Leica M10, like for Christmas a couple years before, and picked that back up.
How's that?
My other hobby is just walking and just being. Like, I love living in New York and just getting to be a person.
Yeah, when
take time for anonymity and just experiencing life.
When did you move to New York?
Year and a half ago.
Wow.
Do you prefer it over LA?
Oh God, all day, every damn day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But like, what was the motivation to move to New York?
The motivation to move was, I like seasons. I do. I like walking. I like people watching. I like just soaking up culture. I like the kaleidoscope of culture that New York offers. Like, downtown is like, you 2 blocks this way, you're in a whole different world. Like 3 blocks this way, you're in a whole different world. And just that, like, exploring, just like soaking it all up. And LA, I got kind of caught in this cycle in the hills of just, you know, some days I wouldn't leave my house for days. Just you order Postmates, you know, you like just, you know, my studio's right there in the house. Like my pool's in the backyard. I don't have to leave, and that's cool, but that's not like me. What I want to go outside. I want to soak shit up. I want to like, and I don't really drive. I'm like anytime I get behind a wheel, it's a very dangerous situation. You know?
Me too.
And like, you know, it's like, I don't know. Eventually I was like, all right, you've been here for 6 years. You complain about it to anybody who will listen. You know, you're not married and you don't have kids. And you do have the resources to make this move if you want. Mm-hmm. So either shut the fuck up or stop like crying about it, or just do it. And I up and just did it and got a spot in New York, and I plan on being bi-coastal. And it was like a couple weeks in, I was like, yeah, I'm not going back. Like, this shit is fire. Like,
when you're in New York, where's your studio at?
A few spots. Yeah, I work at Jungle a lot. But it took a minute to kind of find my, you know, all right, where are my spots going to be in New York? Electric Lady is fire. Jimi Hendrix's spot.
Nice.
Yeah, but the studio is here all day.
Right.
Like my notes is like ridiculous. Like writing down ideas all day. Like just.
Why did it take you like a little while in between albums? Like was there like a personal thing going on, or I mean, not to get rude and evasive, but like I feel like you're a very contemplative person.
Yeah.
And like you can work out a lot of things in your head. Yeah. So was there like a personal struggle, or you just wanted to take a break, or you were?
I mean, it's been like a little over a year since you put out music. That's not like that crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, really, much longer than that. Realistically, it was just so. I was burning out. I really was. I was, you know, like when you go that hard for that long, and we had a great run. It was 3 albums in a row went platinum. You know, and you live on the road or in the studio, and what you kind of like, what you sacrifice in that level of commitment and dedication to it is the experience to be a human being, you know, the humanity part of it, and to just live. And, you know, it's like, I mean, I have 3,000 unread text messages on my phone. I don't get to like keep up with people the way that most people have, you know what I mean? It's like an overwhelming, overstimulated, so I just, and then my mom died. And COVID, my mom passing and all that, I just finally was like, yo, I need to like reset. And that was a huge, obvious aspect of moving to New York too. It was like, I need a drastic change of everything. I need to finally give myself a break and take some pressure off of the cycle of releasing music. And, you know, but that comes at a risk, you know? Then I'm reading the comments, and I'm as sensitive as you. Damn, he fell off. And you Google G-Eazy. I did this, like, I should not have done this. Don't ever Google yourself. But it's like, one of the top, like suggested was, like, is G-Eazy still making music? And I was just like fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. Like, fuck y'all. Like, you have me so fucked up. Like, I haven't been making songs obsessively since I was 13 years old. And the whole time, it wasn't like I stopped writing. Look, like, an athlete's body will tell you when it's time to retire. We were talking about this earlier-ish, but, like, the creatives, we can't do anything but this.
Right.
Like, I write songs because I have to. It's
Dude, that's
just
so
in me all day long.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, like, I just needed to reset from the business side of it. And just, like, reestablish, like, I changed management. I moved to New York. I had to grieve. I had to, like, you know, change my whole surroundings and scenery. And then I got more inspired than I'd ever been. I spent some time in Paris and in London, and I had to just get out of this cycle and routine that I was in.
Yeah, that just hit me super heavy. The way that you explain that, like that, like I am sensitive, dude. I felt you right there, like whew.
It's like, dude, you just can't make everybody happy, and they expect you to. It's like, you know, like next.
I have a very overdeveloped concern for the opinions of others, and when I see like,
oh my god, it's what a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, it's heavy, but now
I just say I get my feelings hurt.
Yeah, big time, man.
But
big time, and I think that's also a part of that anxiety. You know, like I think being really fear-based and being really like, you know, just full of doubt and just scared that everything's not going to be okay and like that you're going to be finished with and done. You're going to lose everything that you have.
Yeah.
Like that becomes a crazy fire under your ass.
And it's, I mean, because when you've had nothing, you know what it feels like, you know, and you're so scared to ever go back there. And it could all be pulled out from under you.
Right.
You know, the rug could be pulled out.
Right.
Like, and that's a, you know.
So when you see that and you're like, you know, it has this crazy effect on you. Then that just motivates you, right? Like that. Then so that's what we're sitting on with the music that you're putting out now.
Yeah, it's the record of my life. It's the one.
And so do people not yet know the name of this album?
No.
Okay, so we're putting out singles. The first single.
How soon does this come out?
This is May 30th.
All right, it's called Freak Show.
All right. So Femme Fatale is the first single.
Yeah, Femme Fatale, and then Lady Killers 3, and but Anxiety is the song of that. Like that's, I'm so excited to finally put that song.
Dude, I love it, man. That's like it's what do you call it? Serendipitous. That like I really think that
when this comes out, I think the song will be out, but. Right now, we're filming this before it is out, but we are saying that it is May 30th to act like it is May 30th. But after this, I will play it for you.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Dude, I'm stoked for that. And what does putting music out look like nowadays? Like, are you at a label now? Like,
yeah.
Does that make you like part of like the old school? Like, are people not just ditching labels?
Dude, it's so weird, man. I mean, music is a crazy game. But no, I mean, I've been with RCA my whole entire career, and, you know, we've had a great rapport, and they've stood by me when I put out my weird experimental shit. They've, you know, like, gone to war with me when, you know, we're number one at, you know, whatever. And
have you, like, ran out the contract? Like, because I know that you get in these
When is this coming out? You know, it's like, so, actually a crazy story. So when I was in college, I got flown out by RCA in Atlantic for a song I had on MySpace. And, I mean, I was just a kid. I'd never been in New York. I'd never been in a hotel. I was taking pictures on my old cell phone of the hotel room. Like, I'm about to get signed. Texting all the homies, like, yo, I'm about to be on. And I sat in the boardrooms, you know, and met with them, and it was kind of like and they passed. You know, I'm 19 years old, flying back, and they don't tell you they passed. They just say, we'll be in touch.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and you fly back. And I went to school next Monday, you know, and everybody I had told, like, that I'm about to sign a record deal, you know, it was like, how'd it go? And that kind of like facing rejection, like facing like, all right, maybe I am inadequate. Maybe I'm not. Maybe all this thing that I've been in love with and chasing, I'm not good enough to do, because like clearly, you know, they looked me up and down and they said, nah, he's not it.
Yeah.
And that drove me even harder. And, you know, so we independently came up, and I almost, for a long time, hated the idea of a record deal, because it's like, I don't want any money in my pocket I haven't earned yet. It's like everything we had, we were saving. I was living out of a suitcase, and we would reinvest back into it, like shooting our own videos, you know, right back in. So then when after Vans Warped Tour and, you know, touring and building up, and then doing my own tour, and then going from the 200 cap rooms to, we'll start with the 2 people rooms, and then up to the, you know, 50 people, and then 100 people, and then 200, 500, 1,000. Then we had the ball rolling, and both labels came back around.
Right.
You know, and now I'm sitting in the same rooms saying, I told you I'd be here. Now I want what I want. Because I believed in this the whole time. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me, it not happening then.
Right.
You know, but
I wonder what do they really bring to the table, because as I understand it, like it's a catch-22 if you want to break out in music. Like, you can't blow up without the support of a label, but you can't make money unless you own your own publishing and masters. So it's like in order to break out of that, you kind of have to like sign with the label, and they give you a however many album deal, and then you got to run through those albums, and then you get to renegotiate.
I mean, it all depends, dude. It's such a wide world. It's such a wide spectrum, and especially nowadays where the tools to create music are the barriers of entry are just at the floor. You know what I mean? Anybody can make a beat or record vocal, or like, and it's getting easier and easier and easier. So and to distribute it, like when I was, in high school coming up, like I was right at the kind of spark of, like, it was a radical new idea that I always thought you had to have a record deal and get in a big studio. That who could afford that? Like, but just to have a mic at home and a laptop, and then like SoundCloud or MySpace, that was radically brand new. To create and distribute music as a general idea. Right. So now it's infinitely easier, and it's just like, I think it's beautiful in that, like, something could be such a subculture where it resonates with this world. I don't know nothing about it. Something could be the biggest thing to this world, and I may have never even heard it. Yeah. It could be invisible to me, but it finds who it finds and who it's for, and there's plenty of ways to monetize that level of popularity or consumption or like audience, but if you want to make the big bet and and be on that level, it takes money to make money. Yeah. And most all business.
Yeah, I feel like if you're with the label though, like they're like, well, here's a check for $500,000. Oh, you want to do this yourself? It's like, okay, I'm gonna put on TuneCore, and you're like looking at the fucking balance, like you want.
That was me. Yeah, I do believe how many times I refreshed that balance.
But I think that so they're like, we will set you up with a world tour. We'll guarantee you this much, and it's finally like, fuck. Dude.
Nah, that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. In
you got to go out and get it yourself. At least start the ball rolling yourself and get it going. But at the end of the day, I mean, look, this is a long industry, a history of recorded popular music. And there's a reason why the staff. So it takes a village to.
Is RCA involved in your touring business? They got to be, right?
Yeah, but just me personally, like I've always been very kind of like I've known what I want to say, who I want to be, what I want it to look like, what I want to do, and for that I like salute and appreciate the rapport and relationship I've had with RCA for 10 years of trusting me with that. The amount of times it's worked, but it's like, yo, like, let me do this. I'll bring it to you when it's ready, and I'll tell you. Not to say, I don't take. What's the point of having a Jedi Council if you never listen to the Jedis? Yeah, of course, but you lead with democracy and like you listen, but at the same time, it takes a leader, and I've just like had that strong, confidence and belief in this is what I want to do. Follow me.
Do they ever pressure you to like, hey, dude, it's been a couple years, you can make an album?
Hey, man, it's somewhere in the 3,000 number of text messages, man.
Yeah, fuck it. That's funny.
We've got to start rapping.
Oh, we got to wrap it up?
You want me to rap? Shit, man.
All right.
Yeah, it's all right. 3:30.
Yeah.
Man, we could do this for like
this is a good one, dude.
Yeah, it's rad, man. And dude, like your vulnerability and your candor. I'll just say it again, man. Like if somebody was riding high and then not riding as high, like they're not gonna. You were the one to say that,
Yeah.
Like
but I mean,
that's pretty rare.
And that doesn't take anything away from, like, it takes an insane amount of confidence to believe that you can do any level of this. Yeah. Like imagination and confidence and belief and all that. And I think it's a like a seesaw balance of like crippling anxiety and self-doubt that like weaponizes and fuels the like I have to do this.
Sure.
And that like insane confidence of like I want to be the biggest thing in the world. I want to rip everyone's head off. I'm gonna do this and I will. But if you didn't have that, because then it would just be delusional. Because then you never know. You're totally wrong. You're not ripping anyone's head off. You're not doing anything. Right. You suck. But like that level of like honesty and self-reflection and and realness, it comes at the cost of the anxiety that comes with it, I think.
I mean, dude, like I described my my existence as pretty tortured and,
Oh, yeah.
and uncomfortable and just gripped with anxiety and fear. And I wouldn't trade it in because if I was comfortable and content, I'd be lazy and
I'd be on a couch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the fire that drives us, man. Hey, dude, I'm impressed by you. I really felt you, man. I really felt you, dude.
Likewise, dude.
And,
I was really, really excited to do this, man. I appreciate you
cool,
guys.
man.
I started in the toilet paper aisle.
Hey, man. the saga, the adventures of Jerry and Steve-O.
Yeah.
Or G-O and G-Eazy.
Yeah.
Fighting over toilet paper.
Oh, yeah, dude. Right on, man. Let's hear that tune.
Right on. Yes.
Did I tell you or what? He got so vulnerable, so emotional, and it was touching. It was smooth. It was all that, man. G-Eazy, I'm a fan. And he is a real piece of ass. He is. I told him that, honey. That was like one of the first things I said to her. I said, you are a real piece of ass. Yeah. And you, my beautiful street team people, you guys are all wonderful pieces of ass too. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. I love you. And yeah, that's it for the New York episodes. We have nothing in the can, and it's off to Los Angeles to get a new batch. So let's see what happens, and I love you all. Yeah, dude.